Hi, it's Keiko at Wisteria Surrey Ranch, and today I am going to show you how to needle felt a koala. So I'm going to show you how to make this one, but you can always make one that's a little smaller with the same process. Okay, so let me cover the materials first. So you'll need a foam and a felting needle. So the felting needles are specialized and barbed, so you'll need to get some felting needles. You can use a tiny little one for this project, or you can use the standard size needle felting foam, which is about 5 by 5. For this koala project, you'll need some core white wool or just white wool. You'll want about 0.14 ounces, and I always like to have extra, but here's 0.4 ounces or 4 grams. You'll want some gray. So I've got some extra gray wool here, and it's that 0.11 ounce or about 3 grams. And then you'll want a pinch of black, pink, and pink, black and pink for the koala. For the tree that you see here, oh, sorry, you'll want some brown wool, and let me see, it's 0.07 ounces or 2 grams, and just a little pinch of green. Okay, so that covers your material. And also, if you'd like to support me, I have a pattern size guide as well as the step-by-step PDF tutorial at my Etsy shop. So if you want to support me, that's one way to do it, but you can do it without as well. So enjoy the video, and I will do a close-up so you can see what I'm doing with my hands. So we are going to get started with the koala head. So I'm just taking a little bit of white wool. It's about 0.04 to 0.07 ounces or about 1 to 2 grams. And we can always add. So I'm always going to start out a little smaller than I think because it's usually a little easier to add. So I'm just creating a little ball here, and then I'm going to go ahead and poke. I'm just poking it into kind of a head shape, and I do have the size pattern guide so I can check against that. So I'm just poking, and for the needles, just so you don't stab yourself, I'm just going in about maybe this much, so not very deep, and I'm being very gentle and careful and watching my fingers. These are barbed, so it hurts a little bit more when you poke yourself. Okay, so I'm just poking, and this will be covered, so you don't have to worry too much about what it'll look like. Okay, I think you can see what I'm doing. I'm just poking all around, little head, and I believe I'm using an all-purpose 38 gauge needle. I usually just have like a 36 gauge, which is a little bit more for coarser fiber, but it does felt faster. And I usually have the 38 all-purpose and then a 40 gauge around. They're not usually marked properly, so I'll just kind of test it as I, if one of my needles don't work, I'll just test whatever. Okay, sorry. Going there. Okay, and the firmness is really up to you, but the main important thing is that it's together. It's not going to fall apart on you. Some people like it super tight, other people like it a little softer, and that's actually really up to your preference, as long as it has like structural integrity and it can maintain the shape you have intended. Okay. So far, this is what I have, and I'm actually going to check it against my size guide. So I'm going to go, okay, and sort of, where's the head? Right there. So I'm going to check it, and it's about the right size. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the front of the face, and I'm going to outline the muzzle. So on my little pattern guide, it has a little dotted line, and I'm just going to outline the muzzle where it's going to be a little higher. Okay, so let me show you what I did so far. A little closer so you can kind of see I just poked and it outlines it. So here you can actually do it two different ways. I can poke this down lower. So I'm going to show you how I do that so that this pokes out more. Or I can actually add a little bit of fiber on top of here to raise it. So I may end up doing both, but I'm just showing you different techniques. I'm going to poke the sides down so that the muzzle looks like it's higher. So I'm just gently poking down. I could keep doing it more, but I think I will also show you. So you can kind of see already that there's more muzzle, but I'm also going to just show you how I might add a little bit, just so you have different techniques for future. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll that up a little bit gently, and then I'm going to place it on top. In this case, I'm just going to go up and down so the top and bottom are loose. Okay, and then I'm just poking first the outline to secure it in place. Not sure you can see that. So there, okay. All right. So I'm poking, poking the outline in place. Okay, and then I'll just gently tap this in to make sure it's got enough firmness. Okay. Okay, so I'm very happy with the face. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of the gray and I'm going to cover the face. Okay, so I'm going to just cover, actually I'm gonna go this way. It doesn't matter really, but you can just sort of see. So this is the, sorry. Here, let me move you over. Okay, so this is where the nose is, and then I'm just going to cover it, and I'm wrapping. So there's a little bit behind here and on top. And I'm going to go ahead and secure the back first. And you can again always add more gray wool. I like to go a little less and add. Okay. So I'm just, let me make sure you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to poke this all in, just like this. Nothing to it. Okay. And just keep going. And if you want to just fast forward, unless you're doing it with me, if you just want to fast forward, you can just do that too. Okay, so as I do this, I try to remember where the muzzle is, and I'm going to be a little extra careful and try to outline the muzzle here again, like this. And this is another opportunity if the muzzle wasn't as big or high enough, you can add gray here as well. So let me just clean this up real quick. Okay, so I've actually poked for maybe another minute or two, and I just want to show you a few little things. So right here on the muzzle, actually I'm going to bring it closer. Right here on the muzzle, it's a little lighter in color and it looks a little see-through, and so I don't want that. So I'm going to fix that by adding a little bit, and then I'm going to turn the head over. Actually, from the side it's a little easier. So now we're looking at the front, that's the muzzle, and then this is the back of the head. So as I was felting, the back of the head got flat. So I'm going to round that out. So I'm going to show you how I would do both of them in case that happens with you. If yours looks perfect, you can just skip this section. Okay. And my apologies, I have 3 dogs in here and one's panting. Okay, so I'm going to take a little extra gray. And I like to do a quick pre-felt just so it makes it really fast. Okay, so I'm just kind of rubbing the fiber between my hands, and this is the one I'm going to put over the muzzle. So Here's the muzzle that looks a little see-through. This is the little piece I just did, and I'm just going to cover it. Okay, so I'm just poking this one in, just like that. Okay. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So that looks really cute and smooth. Now I'm going to fix the back of the head because it's a little flat and I want it a little rounder. And it's totally okay if you don't mind it being flat, but I'm just going to show you in case you do want it a little more left. Okay, so that's going to probably be too much. And a lot of this, you know, you just kind of have to practice and learn by feel, because sometimes you're like, how do you know how much? You don't until you put it on there and go, whoops, too much. Okay, and then you start to get a feel for it after you keep practicing. Okay, so I'm just gonna put about maybe this much. I'm laying it on the back of the head, and I'm gonna go ahead and do an outline of it first. I'm just kind of attaching it to the outline. Okay, yeah, and I like it. So it's still fuzzy, but I like it, so then I'm just going to clean it up. So I'm just going to tap that in, poke, 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 poke. And you'll notice that I'm not going in very deep, so it will tangle because it's just the barb part, pulling the wool in and out to tangle it up. So you don't really need to go too far. Just attaching this to the surface. Okay, so there's the back of my head. It's a lot more of a rounder feel. And of course, you know, if you want to just completely make it perfect, you can take the time to do so. But I'm going to move on. Oh, okay, so as I flip that over, that came fluffy. So that meant I didn't poke it in enough initially. So then I would just go back and poke it in now. It's totally good. Okay. All right, so now we got the head and we're going to work on the ears. I'm gonna put this head here, and you can always check it against the size guide. Okay, so for the ears, I'm going to use the gray, and I'm going to take 2 equal fluffs. Well, as close as you can. Sometimes it's not as easy. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and think this is about equal. And the size guide does show you kind of the finished size. So for the ear, I'm going to actually have something about this long in case you're wondering and need more measurements. It's about 2 inches or about 4 centimeters, 4.5 centimeters-ish. Not an exact person, sorry. Okay, and then you're gonna fold it in half. Like so. Okay, so I just fold it in half. And I'm going to put the folded part here, and I'm going to poke this. So this is going to be where the ear is going to actually attach to the head. So right now it looks like a big fluff with the edge poked. Okay, so then I'm going to want it a little smaller, so I'm going to fold the edge in a little bit, so this is going to be a little smoother. So now I'm just poking. So I folded this edge, I'm poking, and then I'm going to go ahead and fold this edge. Just folded it over, I'm going to poke. Okay, so now you've got this big fluff. So if you want to keep the ear really kind of loose and fluffy like this, I'll show you how to do that. If you want to keep it like really smooth like this, then to make it smooth, it's probably easier to make it smooth. So you could just fold it right over like this. Do you see that? And then you can just poke it in. And you know what? Let me go ahead and just do that. Okay. So I just folded it over. Okay. And I can maybe do the other ear slightly differently so you can see, although I won't have matching ears. Okay, so that would be the ear. And I like to add a little bit of white to the center, or not the center, the inside of the ear, right, this. Okay. So you would just take a little bit of white. I like to kind of just fold it, also sort of anchor it in right here. And then as I'm poking, I'm just going to kind of wrap it around and poke. So there's one ear, and then hopefully it's not too stuck. Okay, and I'll check it against the size guide. It's a little on the big side, but that's okay. And I would check it against the head, make sure it's about the right size. And as you poke it in, it's gonna get a little bit smaller. So this is probably okay. And let me show you the other ear. So the other ear, if you want to keep it a little fluffy at the end, we're going to go do the same thing. So we're going to fold it up. And the part that's going to get attached, I'm going to poke here. Okay, it's a little wide, so I'm going to fold the edges in. Okay, same on this side. Fold it in a little bit. Okay, so then to make the edges a little more kind of fluffier, so a couple things you can do. So you can kind of, not sure how to verbalize this. I'm sort of gently poking it in like this. So it's not like a really fine, tight line. So there's a little bit of fuzz. I'm going to kind of poke it in a little bit, but it's not like a... yeah, I don't know how to explain this, so you can just watch. Sort of plain. Now do this very, very gently with your needle so you don't break it. So I'm just kind of pulling it up and angling it, I think, sort of. Okay, so you can kind of see how I did that. It sort of keeps it a little fluffier. Okay. And then I'm just poking. Okay, let's see. And then once I kind of have the edges, then I can poke the inside a little tighter because that part doesn't need to be too fluffy. Okay, yeah, I like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do the same with the white on the inside of the ear. And the other way you can do it, you can just kind of roll it up. So just different techniques you can use to make your ears. Okay, so I'm just rolling that up. Now I got a big old fuzz. And there you go. So I have two ears that don't fully match. Okay, but you kind of see the fluffier edge, and then you got one that's a bit more smooth. Okay. And I'm just gonna go ahead and use this time. I know they might not match exactly. So now on the head, okay, that's my muzzle. Okay, I'm going to go, so the easiest way to do it is to sort of hold it between, oh my goodness, okay. Okay, my arms, okay, so okay, I'm gonna go like this. Okay, so I would like hold it facing me between my fingers like that, however it works for you. And then I'm going to poke both edges in first, and then I'm gonna do the front and back. So let me just show you. I have to do this looking at it because I can't do it backwards. Okay, so I'm holding it with my right, left two fingers like this and the thumb. And what I'm going to do first is, so that I can figure out the placement, I'm poking in, yeah, sorry, I need the camera actually behind me. Okay. Okay, so I poke that side in, and then now I'm gonna poke this side in. See if I can do this backwards. Sort of. Okay, so I got the both ends in, and then I'm going to try to poke in the front and then the back like this. Okay, so let me try and do that real quick. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so I think I got the one ear in, and then I'm going to do the other ear. Okay, so I'm gonna hold it again, poke in both ends. Okay, I'm sorry, this is gonna be harder to see. Okay. And then I'm poking in the front of it right here. So I'm trying to poke that in, and then I'm going to do the same to the back so the ears are in there securely. Okay, let me try that looking at it. Okay, so the ears look a little different, but you know why. I think it's okay. All right, so for now I think I'm gonna go with the flow. So we've got the ears on there, and we're going to move to the next step. Okay, so the next step is to do the little eyes. So we're going to take a little bit of the black, really need a tiny little bit. I'm going to try to make it even, and then I'm actually going to roll it between my fingers. Okay, so I think it might be a little big, but we'll see what we can get. Okay, so, oh wow, okay. These are really kind of too big. Oh, sorry, there. So let's see. Well, you know what? Sometimes you just have to kind of keep going. So I'm going to go ahead and try to make two smaller ones and see if those are any better. If not, I'm just going to use really big eyes. All right. Oh, these actually feel better. All right. So there. Okay. So I got those two. I'm going to put it down there for a second. So on the face where I want the eyes, I'm going to poke. Now, I can't do this backwards, but basically where I want the eyes, I'm just going to poke it down so I know, and it's a little easier to place my eyes. So I'm going to poke it, and then I'll show you so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so I poked in. Oh, you can totally see it. Okay, so I poked in where I think my eye should go. And if for some reason you poke and it doesn't look right, just add a little more wool and try another spot. It's totally good. Okay, and then I'm going to put these little eyes in. See, now I'm not sure. Are those too little? Let me see. So let me show you so you can kind of get a feel. We're going to try both since I have them. Okay, so there's the first little ones. Or no, actually the second little ones that I made. And then those are the first ones. Okay, actually, it looks big right now, but when I poke it in, I think this is going to be a better size. So let me go ahead and try this one. Okay, so I'm just poking. Sometimes using a finer gauge needle will make it a little easier to work on something like the eyes. So in this case, I'm probably already using a 38, so I would go to a 40 gauge for the eyes, but it's working, so I'm going to just keep on going. So that's actually, this is probably okay size-wise. So since this is more for demo, I'm just going to keep going. If I were on my own and just doing this, I might be spending a lot more time like trying to get a little more perfect. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so now I like to have that little bit of white in the black part of the eye, and then I actually have a little white outline underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and do those two before we add the nose. So now this white is going to be, again, a little pinch. I'm going to roll it. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Okay, and it's just a little ball like that. Okay. and then I'm gonna put it towards the top of the eyes. I'm gonna go ahead and, now that one I might need a finer gauge needle, let's see. Okay, so I'll go ahead and add both and show you. So I'm just poking in the little white bit. I just poked in a little white dot on the top. It really adds character, doesn't it? Okay, and then I want to outline the bottom. Now you don't always have to do that, but I think it does add a little bit of an extra touch. So for the little outline, I'm actually going to try to make like almost like a little string. It's not really a string, obviously, but it's more like a longer piece. So it's flying all over the place. I'm gonna put it over here. Okay, so I've got a little piece like this. I can just fold it in half, maybe. That would be a little easier to manage. So then I'm just gonna go under the eye, and this is something that would probably be helpful to do with a little finer needle. Okay, and I'm just outlining the very bottom. So let me just put it on, and then you can, going super slow and carefully. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like. So I did it to this eye. You can sort of see that under. Okay, so it's optional, but I'm gonna do it. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna do roll, 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 roll really tight. And the eyes are one of the hardest, so it does take a little extra practice. Okay. All right, so that's in. Probably should be poked in a little bit deeper, but that's in for now. Okay. Can't help it, right? Sorry. I've got to poke it in. It's bugging me. Okay. Now we're going to do the nose. And the nose, I'm just going to pull a little bit. And what I'm going to do, because it's really hard to shape the nose here, I'm just going to rub it a little bit. And you can pre-form the nose, but I'm just going to kind of make it into a loose, sort of like a loose fluff that's a little more put together. Goodness, I'm so sorry about my explanations. It's probably like, huh? Okay, so yeah, so it's not a tight one because I want to have a little bit more flexibility in shaping it as I put it on, but it's kind of like this for now. Okay, and then I'm going to put it right above that muzzle right here. And then I'm going to poke the outline. So, so one little tip. When you put the nose in, okay, let me just show you the top part so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, put the nose high enough so that you have a little room to make the mouth underneath. Unless you don't want the mouth, which is totally good too. But if you want to do the little mouth, just make sure the nose is high enough so that there's a little bit of room below the nose. So right now I'm kind of gently poking it in as I sort of kind of shape the nose. And I'm using the regular all-purpose needle, I think. Yep. Okay, so let's see. And if it's not like big enough or high enough, just add more black wool to the nose. Needle felting is very flexible and forgiving, so you can always kind of change it as you go. Okay. It's so easy to just like go into your own little world. Okay. I don't know. Okay, so here we are so far. Okay, maybe the nose could be a little more narrow, but I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so now I want the little, I'm going to put a little bit of white first and then the pink right above it. But for my smaller ones, well, actually I did that for that one. Let me see. Yeah, I did that for that one too. You can do just direct pink if you want. It's really up to you. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of white. And so this is kind of like the chin area, but it's just going to go under the mouth. So I'm just sort of rubbing the white, similar to what I did with the nose. And I'm going to put it right under the nose like this. I'm going to poke it in place. So let me see. There. So you can build this up or just leave it as is, however you like it. And then now I like to add a little bit of pink. So I'm going to take a little bit of pink and rub. Okay. It's just a little like thing like this. Then I'm gonna put it right under the nose on top of the white. And then just gonna carefully poke it in so it stays. And there we go. Okay, so now we are going to create the body for the koala. And so let's see, it's about 0.07 ounce of core wool, or about 2 grams, and we're going to roll this. Actually, I'm going to take that off. I'm going to just roll this tightly here. I like to have the top part tight, so this is going to be where the neck is and this is the bottom. I like this part to be a little tighter and smaller, so I'm going to be kind of rolling it into a bit of a cone shape. And what that means is you could do a sausage, which would be just, you'd be straight going wrap wrap. Well, actually, let me show you what a sausage would be. So a sausage, you would just go straight like this. You just roll, roll, roll. Okay, so it's kind of even like that. To make it into like a cone shape, which is kind of nice for animal bodies, what I tried to do is I actually focus on the skinnier part, or the neck part, and then I'm going to be rolling it with the focus there and almost like angling it so it's actually smaller there. And then as I roll, I'm gonna kind of maybe like, okay, so here you see it's already kind of at an okay, you see there I've already kind of got an angle, but now like this is a little bit going this way. So then you can just sort of fold this bit so then it actually gets a little thicker even. So let me just continue and show you. So I'm rolling, so I'm keeping this end really narrow, and then I'm gonna roll again, and I'm pushing this up so it kind of looks like this. So this is a little extreme, but you can kind of see how it's like a cone versus a sausage. Okay. So let me poke that in place. This looks a little on the small side for this koala, but it's easier to add. So I'm just gonna go ahead and poke the bottom in a little bit, and then rotate it so it doesn't get stuck. So I'm just kind of poking all around, making the body. Okay. Poking the bottom, and then I'm gonna also poke the top in, but I'm gonna go from an angle. You can do it this way, just watch your fingers. Okay. So this is very tiny. It's probably too small. It's probably my little mini. So then if it's too small, no problem. Okay, so I would just get more, and I would just roll again. So I'm going to roll again, and this time it's going to be a little easier because you already have the shape. So we go like this. That looks better. And then I'm going to poke, 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 poke. Okay, sorry. Okay, and I'm just going to do this part first, and then I'll do the ends. Okay. and then I'll do the bottom. And I would normally do this a little longer and tighter, but I think I'm going to keep moving forward with it so you can see the steps. So keep poking, you can pause it if you like, if you're doing it with me. And if you prefer the paper version, like the paper step-by-step or just pictures, that's actually part of my Etsy tutorial with a pattern. Okay. Alright, so there it is. And I would check it against my size guide over here. Just checking. Just checking. Can you actually see it? Sorry. Where's the body? It's over here. Okay, and then you can actually check the top width and then the bottom width down here like that, sort of, to get a better idea in case you're not sure. Okay, so this one actually was a little tall. Okay, and if you're like super new, oh actually let me keep going first and then I'll talk as I poke. Okay, so now I'm gonna get the gray to cover. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I cover it pretty good. Okay, so then I'm gonna go like this, cover, and cover. And I'm just tightly covering it right now. And then I'm gonna poke it and do this. Okay, so as I poke this on, there's a little thing. Yeah, so if you're like super new, I actually have a free online intro to needle felting course on Thinkific, and you can learn about like the basic supplies and a bit about the fiber and the tools, and then it walks you through a really fun little project where you make an egg, so you can learn like the real basics and shaping stuff, and then you learn how to make a little chick, so that's a little bit more a few more skills added, like adding the eyes and all the good stuff. And then let's see, and then there's I don't know if the hen or the nest project came first, but the nest kind of shows you how to attach like other fibers, and yeah, so that's actually free. And you can either sign up to my farm website at wisteriasurreyranch.com, and then you'll get the link to it. It should be on the front page. You might need to scroll a little bit. Or let me see, it might be, you might be able to find it through Thinkific, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, so that's like a fun little great intro class that you can take for free and learn a lot of the stuff. Okay, so here, and I do have other videos that are a little easier for beginners or a little more complicated, I guess. No, it's actually not that complicated. It's really just more steps and more patience. So none of this is hard. You can do it. All of it, you can do it. Just takes patience and just sort of taking the time. Okay, so I think I got the body. I'm gonna double check with my size guide. Looks pretty good. Okay, so then the next step is to attach the head to the body. So I'm gonna check for balance. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so if I'm good, then I'm gonna put the head upside down like this, and then put the body on top of the head, and I'm gonna hold it like this. Actually, can you see that? Okay, so that's the face. I'm just holding it. Okay, and then I'm going to actually attach the neckline first. Now watch the needle because your fingers are down there. So I'm gonna actually attach the front where my fingers are not located. Okay, I'm gonna turn it around. Attach here. So I'm first going to attach like the neckline. Like this. Okay. And then I'm going to look and go, okay, that's a good position. Now, once you like the position, then what you're going to do is get your fingers out of there. So put the put your fingers on top here, okay, away from the head. And then you're actually going to jab it a little bit more, okay, so that you're actually tangling it better, because you really don't want these two to come apart. But I don't want your fingers near the needle on this one, because you're going to want to go a little deeper here, so that you're actually tangling the fibers a little deeper than just like the surface that we were doing when we were just connecting the neckline. Okay. All right, so you can kind of sort of see the difference. It sort of shrunk it a bit. Okay, and it's a little more secure. Oops, let me show you. It's a lot more secure. Okay. So at this point, you can leave it as is, or if you're kind of a perfectionist and want things to be super smooth, you can add a little bit of wool all around the neck or just on the back. So I'm just going to show you on the back. So I'm just going to like cover it like this. And then you're just going to poke it in so that it has a bit more of a smooth look. Actually, don't even bother to cover the front yet, because this koala is going to have a white chest and we'll add white wool, so you don't have to worry about that. So maybe just the back if it bothers you. Okay. So that's how you can smooth things out if you end up with like kind of a line that you poked. Okay. All right. And also just know that you can always kind of shape it with your fingers a little bit. Oops, sorry, I'm off my screen. Oop, back here. Okay. So, you know, if you want it to be a little bit more like this, you can just sort of shape it with your hands and sort of see what it looks like. You can reinforce it by poking it a little bit more. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. And now we're going to do the arms and legs. Okay, so let me just go ahead and put this one down. Okay, so for the arms and legs, we're going to do, the arms are going to be a little thinner, is that the right word? And then the back legs are going to be a little thicker. So I'm going to go ahead and get to similar size, and a lot of this you're gonna sometimes need to make more legs and keep practicing till they match. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the table to roll. So this is a little harder because it's really fine and fiber's kind of fluffy. Okay, so I'm starting to roll like this, and then just to make the tip faster and easier, I'm actually going to fold the tip a little bit so that it's easier to do. So all I'm actually doing is I'm just kind of rolling as tight as I can, but it's harder, actually it's a little harder than you think. Roll, 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 roll. Okay, so it's rolled. So once it's rolled, I'm going to gently poke and then roll and poke so that it doesn't get stuck and it doesn't get flat. Okay, so it's kind of just rolling. And then I'm going to kind of clean up, but see how like the tip is already pretty clean because we were folding it in? That actually saves you a little extra time and poking. And a nice clean tip. Okay. So there's that. And you can leave this end fuzz or lighter and looser so that it's a little easier to attach to the koala. Okay, so I would normally do it a little bit more, but I'm going to continue. So then I'm going to just make sure that the size looks about right. Okay, I like that. Okay, so then I'm going to make the other one. Okay, so I'm going to just do it again. I'm going to show you again. Okay, so you're folding the tip in so it's nice and clean. Okay, this one feels a little bigger. That's okay. All right, so again, we're going to poke, poke, poking and rolling, and I would do this a little bit more normally, but I'm just going to keep going. And you'll want to see if you can match the arms and legs really nicely. Okay, so these are pretty close. Okay, so those are my arms. And then my legs, I'm gonna try to get a little bit more like wool. And then split it. Oh, no, it doesn't look quite like it's enough. So then I might add a little bit more. All right, let's try one and see how it goes. All right, so I'm gonna roll, roll, roll. Okay, it looks bigger. All right, and the size guide does have a rough size guide as well, so I'm poking. Then I'm gonna tuck this tip in. Just go at an angle downward. So here, I don't want to poke in going this way because then I'll probably end up jabbing myself and it just does not feel good. So what I'm doing is, if you can kind of see, I'm actually going at an angle towards the foam. So if it goes in, it's not going to hit my hands or fingers. And I'm not going very deep, and I'm going, I'm just moving it around like that. Okay, so again, it's a little loose, but we're going to go ahead and do that. Let me see. Okay, well, okay, so the leg looks a little short to me. I'm gonna cheat, so I'm gonna just show you what you can do. The leg looked a little short. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stretch it out just a bit, and since it was still loose, I'm gonna felt it a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so that's probably longer. And then I'm gonna make it a little tighter. Okay, and then another little thing you can do is sort of roll it. Like I was saying, you can use your hands. Okay, so that looks actually better. Okay, now let me check. Okay, I like the length better. Oops, sorry. Like the length better on the leg. So now I'm going to make 2 of these. Okay. And so this time, since I know I need it to be a little bit longer, I'm actually going to spread this out like this a little bit, just so that I have the length. And then I'm going to roll again. Quick, quick, quick. And I'm going to pull the tip in and continue to roll. Okay. And I'm going to sort of compare it to the other one that looks like about the right length. So I'm going to go ahead and put it down and poke. And definitely watch your fingers. And as you'll see, like, I'm not stabbing very hard. Part of it is because I've stabbed myself enough times to know that it hurts. So I'm not going to go full force jabbing. So that's something you can physically learn by poking yourself enough times and go, okay, it's going to go a little lighter. Or you can just start with a little bit more of a lighter touch. It still will felt. It's more the number of pokes, like the number of times you're able to go, wait, I'm off the screen. Okay, like how many times you can do this, because the barbs are tangling it. Jabbing it harder really doesn't do a whole lot other than potentially break your needle if you like end up hitting like the table underneath it. Okay, so just a few extra tips while I poke away. All right. Okay, and oh my goodness, I made so many koalas. They're so fun and cute. I have like so many little ones. Okay, actually, I'm gonna have to show you them. Okay, so I got, look at this. There's like that. Yeah, yeah. Look at all the practices I've done, right? And then there's like this one, and this one, and this one. So yes, so if I look like I'm pretty darn smooth right now, it's because I've had like lots of practice. I kept making the same one. Yeah, so keep practicing. It's really fun. All right, so now back to work. All right, so we've got the 2 legs and 2 arms, and I'm going to show you how to attach those. All right, so I'm going to do my koala with like a side bit like this, so that it can hold the, I'm sorry, the tree trunk. Okay, But if you want one to be facing forward like this, then you would put the hands going forward. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so back to getting the hands on. All right, so I kept that loose fiber, so I'm just going to poke the loose fiber in and check position. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. So there's my first arm, and then I'm going to do the back arm. Okay, so I'm just actually placing it, looking at it, and then poking it in. The initial couple times you poke it in, you want to do it lightly just to make sure you like the position. So I think I'm good with this one. If I need to shorten one arm later, okay, so you can kind of see this back one's a little long. You can actually shorten it later once it's attached by angling the needle and poking it in. So you can, I'm going to show you as I do it. Let's see, is that going to show? Yeah. So I'm actually poking it down and in, and you can shorten the arm right into the body. Oh, see? Very cool. All right. All right, so now the legs, back legs. Okay, I'm going to do this one. Okay, so again, I'm just going to kind of check the length, position, and then I'm going to try to align it with the butt or the bottom so the legs are kind of where they need to be. And we will add a little extra wool here to reinforce the leg and kind of develop kind of like the, what is it, like the upper hind leg area. So okay, so again, that one looks a little long too. Okay, so here, that looks a little long to me, and again, it's totally okay, but if I want to make it a little shorter, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just show you so you can kind of play with it too. So I'm actually angling the needle, and I'm keeping my fingers away from this area because that's where I'm angling my needle. So I'm actually going to poke in going this way. So you almost saw that going this way. Okay. I think it's still working backwards. Okay, let me see. Yeah. All right, so let me go ahead and do that. All right, that's a little better. Okay, so now it's a little shorter. Wait, this way. And it's in. I'm going to work on the rump in a minute. Now let me get the other leg in. Okay. All right. Okay, so, sorry. I'm just going to put that there and poke. So I'm just attaching the loose part, and then I'm actually attaching a little bit further to the body. Okay. There we go. Let's see. Okay, so it kind of looks like this right now. Okay, so now you can add to the arms here as well to reinforce. I'm actually going to skip that step, but I'm going to show you how I add a little extra wool to reinforce the rump. So all I'm doing is taking a little fluff. I like folding stuff, so here, I'm going to fold this in half like that again. And then I'm going to kind of angle it. And I'll just sort of lift you up. Okay. So I kind of poke the folded part here, and then I'm actually blending it in. So I'm actually going, you can, actually I can't, yeah, there you go. So I'm actually going kind of like a little bit round, half moon, going this way as I blend the leg into the upper hind leg, I think. Okay, and then I'm just gonna poke it. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so I'm gonna look at it. Yeah, I like that. So it's a lot smoother. And you would do that on the back side as well. I'm gonna go ahead and skip that so I can get to the tree. And you can do that for the arms. It's just really kind of how much time you want to spend and how secure your arms are in. Okay, so it's looking pretty darn cute. Yay! Okay, so now the tree. So I think they're eating some eucalyptus leaves off of a eucalyptus tree. So I'm going to have the trunk of the tree and then also a little branch or is it a limb, I think? Yeah. And it's about 2 grams or 0.07 ounce. And I'm gonna go ahead and roll the trunk. So let's see. So as I'm rolling, so if this is a little wider, or if you want to do like maybe 2 shorter ones like this, maybe they'll be better. I don't know. I'll have to try that. Okay, so I just did this. Okay, pups. Okay, and then I'm gonna roll. So this is the main trunk part. Okay. Yeah, that's good. And this branch, or this tree piece, so I'm doing the top part. I would generally spend a little more time making it firmer, but it's staying together, so I'm just gonna go ahead and keep moving. Okay, so there's the little tree trunk that's going to be holding. And I'm going to double check to make sure that, sorry, the size works. So I'm going to have the little koala hold it. Okay, so that works in terms of the main size for me. It fits right in. And so now I'm going to create a little limb on this side. Okay, so I'm going to take a little piece and I'm going to go ahead and, oh, that looks like it might be too big. Okay, so I'm gonna roll just like you did with the arms and legs. Okay. And I'm gonna poke, 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 poke. Okay, and then the tip that's not gonna get attached. Hold on, my little guy. Who's in the way? Oh, whoops, okay. So I'm just poking the part that's not going to be attached in to clean it up. And then the part that's going to attach to the trunk of the tree, I'm leaving loose. So here we go. Okay, and then now I'm going to go like this. Okay. And I'm just going to attach it. Cooper, I know. Okay, so you probably want to attach it a little bit better, but we will just go with that for now. Okay, so now I'm going to make the little eucalyptus leaves. So you just take a little bit of green, and since I'm going to make 2, I'm just going to pull 2 bits out. It really requires very little. I'm just going to roll it up like this. So it's kind of like a fluff like this right now, and then what I'm going to do is as I poke it, I'm going to sort of see if I can make it into like a little leaf shape. So I'm just kind of poking it into a leaf shape. I think eucalyptus is kind of like a longer, thinner leaf. But it doesn't have to be eucalyptus. Okay, so here's one. And then I'm going to go ahead and make one more. So I'm just going to roll, 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 roll. Okay. And then I'm poking, 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 poking. Okay, so there's the other leaf. Okay. So then you can really put it wherever you like, but I'm going to go ahead and just add one right at the base, not the base, right where the limb and the trunk meet, and then I'm going to put the other one a little bit higher. Okay. So the little tree looks like that. And did I do this backwards? I kind of did. Oh well, that's okay. So then, I did put it backwards a little bit. Okay, so then I'm going to have the koala hold it. And generally, if you want it to be a set, like it's going to stay together, you would want to gently tap it in so it stays. So I'm not going to shove the whole thing in. I'm going to just poke the where the tree kind of goes to the belly. Oh darn, hang on, I forgot the white part on the koala. Actually, one moment. Okay, I'm taking that off. I forgot the white part on the koala's chest. Let me just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to take a little bit of the white. Okay, and then I'm going to find the center. So sometimes to do that, like you can hold the tip and do it a couple times so you have the length of it. There. Okay, so that's like, and then if you hold it, it should be the length of the wool, so it won't go anywhere. Okay, the center, I'm going to find the center, and that's what I'm going to put right at the neckline. So I've got the center, and I'm going to poke it in right at the center right here. And then I'm going to flip this over, and then I'm going to secure again right at the neck. So now I've got kind of a fuzz, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of poke it down so that it kind of looks like the belly's white. You don't have to do this because the tree does cover it a bit. Okay, so there. Yeah, that's cute. I'm glad I didn't forget completely. Okay, so sorry about that. We're back to the koala, and okay, so we're gonna put the tree limb here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and like poke the tree limb into the body here. Not like really too deep. Just gonna poke it in, and then I'm probably gonna poke it in the front a little bit here. So it's something like how when I just pulled it off, like it was pretty darn easy to just sort of pull off and go back and do the white part. But you can do that first, and then I would actually put the hands on there. So if the hand goes here, then you can kind of go on the back side of the hand and just sort of poke it gently in so it sort of has that, like it's grabbing it. Okay, so let me do the feet. And so, yeah, right here, this arm's kind of floating, so I'm gonna poke. I'm not actually squishing the hand, like going flat like this. I'm actually going towards like the inside of the hand and sort of tangling a little bit of that to the trunk, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and try that a little bit more. And if you, for some reason, need to go back and fix something or take the tree off, it shouldn't like be that big of a deal. Like it should be able to come off. We're not like really dangling it in, but we want it to kind of have that stability and stay together. So as you can kind of see, I think, I'm actually poking kind of like the inside or the seam right here into kind of tangling it a little bit here with the tree, also right here, and then also again like right here. Okay, so there's your finished koala. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, keep making little ones and lots of friends. Have fun. Thank you so much for watching. Bye now.